live now on YouTube.
So
and live here recording. Episode 10. Mama, we made it. How about that?
I love that.
So, Tanner back in the fold, not in Sun River anymore.
Back from Sun River.
Yeah.
Fucking cold.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Went outside one morning, 17 degrees.
Oh, that's that high desert, baby.
Yeah, frost everywhere.
That'll do to you. I spent the weekend in government camp.
Ooh, how was that?
Not very government camp-like. There was no snow, and it rained for half of it. So it was not as... that's the only complaint, but we stayed at this Airbnb that was pretty fucking badass.
Really?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Were you there just to have a good time, or what was the...
A good time was had. It was my girlfriend's friend's 40th birthday.
Okay.
So there was a good collective of people in there, good eats, good food, hot tub. So got myself a nice little soak.
Got a soak in there.
Got a soak. Turn me to a stew, baby. That's what I say. Boil me alive. But it was great. That was the good part of the weekend. Another good part of the weekend, obviously, Ducks whooping that Illinois ass.
Yes, early and often.
Yeah, especially after their and I know, Twitter is definitely not the entire portrait, the entire view of a fan base, but Illinois fans spicy during the week on Twitter.
Did you see some spicy?
They were spicy.
Wow.
They were very spicy. Illinois, not known for their spice.
Feeling froggy. They were ready for that game.
Yeah, and they left. So that was the good part of the weekend. Bad part of the weekend, and we'll get into this probably later in the show during Bread and Locks. Just disastrous betting weekend for me.
Oh, no.
Disastrous.
No, Fish.
Not good. Not good.
Oh, we hate that. We hate those weeks.
Yeah, but as far as college football goes, we'll start there. I mean, Ducks, they dominate, which, after a couple weeks of them being number one when I was nervous, I mean, we got 2 straight dominant performances out of the Ducks right away as the number 1 team in the country. So I'm being put at ease right now. I'm feeling much more comfortable as that number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looks like we're getting better every week, which is the goal, and start playing your best football at the end of the year.
Yeah, Daddy like.
But going into this game, I was talking because Josh went with me, and I was talking to Josh, and we both agreed. Like, I think before this game, Illinois had scored on their first possession the last 5 weeks, and we were going in saying we want the ball, get the win the coin toss, get the ball, go down there and score, get a stop, score, and see how they react. They haven't seen that all year. So the fact that we were able to get the ball to start, and then we went there and we scored like first possession, got a stop, scored again. That was pretty much game there.
It was over early.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a statement win because Illinois, I mean, they've had a great year. But man, that was probably, I would say, the worst performance. I mean, Penn State was pretty bad for them too, but at least they kept it close towards the end. Offensively, I mean, they were terrible against Penn State. But again, they were in it until that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, this game was over at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, it was. I mean, was not even close. You could like feel it too. Just the wind get sucked out of them.
Yeah, it was quite a performance by the Ducks. And number 10 for Illinois, I don't know his name. He needs to transfer ASAP. The one that got bowled over by Whittington.
Oh God, that safety!
Dear Lord, that was one of those where I was again at the house I was with. There were some football fans, but there are times when I had to like temper down my excitedness and my just my meathead football mind, because when that play happened, I was just that close to like
oh, that's how I was
in the stadium. It was going crazy.
It was one of those moments where I'm like, all right, I need to reel it back here before I show people my true side. And this is, it even happened the night before with the home run with Freddie Freeman, the walk off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was I was about to piss like, oh my fucking God.
You don't see that happen very often, though.
No,
you
no.
know.
It was, I had to contain my excitement a little bit because it was just not the vibes for that kind of person at all.
I remember watching it and I was just like, that reminds me of like some Marshawn Lynch, like run through a motherfucker face is like what I saw right there.
Again, he's got to start looking at the transfer portal, seeing where else he can go.
I mean, he's going to remember that hit for the rest of his life.
That was not good. Good.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's not been a great week on campus for him so far. Or in the film room.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I know Oregon's looked over it like 40, 50 times, slow-mo, just on repeat. It's like one of those things you used to walk into the locker room and we'd have some clip of someone doing something stupid just over and over and over.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. My clips might have been used often. I mean, outside of the Oregon game, because again, it wasn't really much that came out of that other than Oregon's just looking fucking good. They're hitting their stride. As far as like drama on the weekend goes, that Ohio State Nebraska game. I don't know about you, but watching it, there was part of me, and I was talking to one of the guys that was at the house. I was like, the logical, common sense Oregon fan in me says we need Ohio State to win this. So, the better the teams we beat, the teams we beat, the better they look, the better it is for Oregon.
Yeah.
Right? So, like Boise State, how they've looked the last few weeks, that's great. Them beating UNLV, that helps a lot, right?
I think that's like a outlier. I think Boise State we want to, but I think regardless of how everyone does in our league, if you go out there and win the league, or if you're top 2 in this league, you're getting an automatic bid. You don't have to look at the rest of the schedule.
Right.
It's like you beat a good team. So, because that's how the Big Ten is perceived,
So that's a good point. But there was definitely part of me watching that Ohio State game, like, Ohio State winning that makes Oregon look better. But quite honestly, them losing at home to Nebraska would have been fucking awesome.
Oh, I would have. Yeah, it would have been hilarious.
that would have been. I mean, because the ESPN, the College Football Playoff Committee, they're going to look at Oregon barely beat Ohio State at home. I would not care about any of that argument if Ohio State would have lost that Nebraska game. That would have been one of the funniest things of the season.
Well, I mean, Will Howard actually played pretty well in that game. They could not get the running game going to save their life. Quinshon Junkins, 29 yards, and then Travion, 25. So, like, when you got that out of your top 2 backs and you're not establishing the run at all, their offensive line is a mess right now.
Yeah, they had another dude go down.
Yeah, their other tackle who was playing in place of Josh Simmons.
Yeah.
And he was limping off, and he's not going to be playing. So
yeah, towards the end of the game there, yeah.
But the tackle's like one of those positions for any team. Like, you cannot be going through multiple tackles. Like, you need those guys healthy to be able to make a big run, because I don't know that they're going to be able to protect Will Howard for a full game. And right now, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get their running game going.
Yeah, it's I'm curious to see how it plays out this week with Penn State. I mean, it is, that game is going to determine a lot. And you've heard me the last couple of weeks talk about Penn State. Like, I just think it's fraudulent. Like, after a while, they are going to show themselves, and this is going to be the week that it happens. And Ohio State, like, Penn State's got to be pissed that Ohio State just had a game like that against Nebraska, because now they're going to get Ohio State's best effort. They're knowing that they just escaped Nebraska at home. And is this game against Penn State in
Happy Valley?
It's in Pennsylvania. Yeah. It's at Pennsylvania State.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a year that Penn State is actually set up to beat them. They could beat them with the hurt tackles. I think it's going to be a low scoring kind of slugfest. I do think the new offense that Penn State's running does provide some mismatches. And
well, is Drew Aller going to even be their starting quarterback this weekend?
Possibly. I mean, still up in the air right now of what it's going to be. Gamesmanship. You're not going to know up until kick, or an hour or two before. And even then, if he's not able to really plant off that ankle, I think the backup can come in and do a serviceable job. It's not like Drew Aller's like the best quarterback in the Big Ten. Like
again, like I said, you can't trust anybody with that type of haircut with the Broncos.
Yeah, I think Kettlenecky, I think their OC, I think he actually would prefer having a running quarterback because Jalen Daniels, when he was dialing up plays for him at Kansas, he was way better with it. He had way more, I guess, options to run. And I saw when that quarterback came in for Penn State, a lot more mobile, and he was able to draw up different plays that kind of kept Wisconsin off guard, because really they did most of their scoring when the backup quarterback was in. So interesting. You're not going to – that's like the only film you have on him. So they have a whole week to scheme for the backup quarterback. I think they could put some – I just don't think Ohio State's great on the one-on-one coverages. Jim Knowles constantly puts Denzel Burke or Igbinosa in. So I think this will be a good test. If besides Tyler Warren, I don't think Julian Fleming's anything great. They wouldn't have let him walk if he was that good. He hasn't done a whole lot. So I'm excited to watch this game.
I am too. I mean, their defenses alone, like I knew both of them were great, but I had no idea that. I mean, they are literally both top 5, top 10 in their 2 and 4 in total yards per game. Ohio State is, it looks like 7th in the country in passing yards per game, and Penn State's kind of around that 15-20 mark. Rushing yards per game given up, Ohio State is 6th in the country. Penn State is 8th in the country. So, I mean, as far as defenses go, I mean, Jesus Christ, that is insane that they are both ranked that high in both of these categories.
But you got to look back at, like, who those teams have played too,
Penn State has played Bowling Green.
Yeah. They almost got beat by Bowling Green.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm aware. That's what I'm saying. The Harold Fanning led Bowling Green Falcons, right?
Harold Fanning had another good game on Saturday, which I was all over the Falcons. Disrespectful for them to be dogs against Toledo. Come on.
So, yeah, this is one of the games that, depending on what happens with these two teams the rest of the season, this is going to be possibly, a playoff spot that they're playing for. If Ohio State loses this game, you're going with 2 losses into the rest of the season. Penn State with 1 loss, you still have a chance to stay in that top 12. But, there's only so many spots for at-larges. And if Oregon, Ohio State are 2 of those, again, this is a huge.
Don't disrespect Indiana.
I'm not. Honestly, if anybody's disrespecting Indiana, it's the AP. They got them at 13.
I know. Well, yeah.
What the shit is that?
I think it's the strength of schedule. They haven't really played. All their hard games are coming in towards the end of the year. So, if you consider Washington a hard game, I guess, but they had their backup quarterback too. So I still think Indiana went in there and then was like, oh, we're not going to be able to do our game plan. And they just threw that out the window and just started running the ball. Once they started running the ball, they had a lot more success. And then a couple of interceptions they had. I think the same guy had 2 interceptions for Indiana. So their defense has shown up lately too, because they almost blanked Nebraska the week before. So
Indiana is wild. 2nd in the country in points for, 7th in the country for points against.
Yeah, just an
absolute wagon.
Yeah, Kirk Signetti. It's my guy.
That and they still have yet to be losing at any point this season. They
haven't trailed?
They have not trailed, yeah. The closest it got to in this game was 17-14. Indiana was up, but they did not trail at all in this game. So through 8 games, they are still – I don't know. Army won this weekend, right? Because it was Navy, that lost to Notre Dame. Navy got crushed by Notre Dame, unfortunately, those unpatriotic bastards.
Yeah, you could kind of see – it's just that the level of athlete was a little bit different.
Yeah, well, like I said, Notre Dame should have just thrown that game. but they wanted to be selfish. They wanted to care about wins rather than this country. So, I mean, Army, they just absolutely rolled. I mean, they didn't. My God, they went up 31-0 for the halfway through the third. So,
blitzed them.
Army and Indiana still the only two teams that have led throughout the entire season. They have not trailed at any point during the season,
and that's crazy. That is crazy.
So I mean, the Ohio State Penn State game, just fucking huge. Like what time is that? 9 a.m. It's a 9 kick. So we'll be watching that on the golf course.
Possibly.
This Saturday tee time, as we get closer and closer, is looking less and less likely to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who. I mean, I know Smitty wants to play.
Oh, I know, I do too.
So
I'm just worried about the other two people in the group chat.
Yeah, well, Josh is a single dad this weekend with Nicole leaving to London.
Getting some Scotch eggs, I hope.
So he's trying to find, I think, someone to try to watch Ari.
Just bring him on the course
for that time.
Let him swing the sticks. Let him take a few putts out there.
Yeah, so we'll see about that.
It's bullshit excuse.
Me, on the other hand, between trying to watch games and just being really bad, is trying to get myself to want to do that, you know?
I hear you on that. I haven't, we've talked about this. I haven't swung the sticks in maybe 3 weeks. I'll probably be going to the range tomorrow.
I'm going to go tomorrow as well.
All right. I'm just going to drag Joey out there. He's not going to like it, but I really don't care. I do enough for him where he can suck it up for one night. He can get himself some Mott sticks or a quesadilla.
Right.
Yeah, he can suck it up for one night. So, as far as what else happened in the college football world, I mean, from last week, as far as other games, I mean, Texas A&M was able to take care of LSU because thank God they benched Connor Weigman.
Which this is like crazy. They keep going back and forth between.
Yeah, well, just don't play Connor Weigman for the simple fact of how he talks.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Forgot you're not a fan of that.
Just don't. Like, no. I mean, I'll give Drew Aller a pass for his hair versus Connor Weigman and how he talks. If I had to choose between the lesser of two evils, then I'm going with Drew Aller. But Connor Weigman was fucking dog water against LSU to start that game. And God, it's escaping who the kid that they had come in for
Marcel Reed.
Yes, he at least can run the ball. And
he had 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and at least gives you that threat. And so, I mean, it's not like they need him to throw a whole lot if they're able to just run for 250 yards in a game. But for God's sakes, and granted, LSU, maybe it was just their defense is a little bit better than what Texas A&M has been used to seeing this year, at least when Weigman's playing, but for the love of God.
I'm still not sold on LSU. From when they lost to USC to start the year.
No, I'm not,
I'm like, how are they number 8? Really? Because it's the SEC?
And after what we've seen from LSU or from USC the rest of the year, I mean, that loss gets worse and worse as the weeks go by.
Yeah.
So I hear you on that. So outside of the top 25, I mean,
Texas had a little scare with the old Diego Pavia.
They did. That's right.
I think the late score kind of made it closer than what it kind of was. But if Diego Pavia doesn't have 2 interceptions in that game, maybe it's a little bit different. He ran the ball well. And I still have a few questions about Texas, honestly.
You know, I was hearing that earlier this week. Like, really, when you look at their schedule now that
they haven't beat anyone.
Yes, after we've gone through about 2/3 of this college football season,
they lost to the tier 1 team that they played.
Yeah, and their Michigan win gets. You want to talk about a game that gets worse and worse as the weeks go on. I mean, yes, they went into Ann Arbor and got the win and dominated them, but Michigan sucks.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally have one of the worst offenses in college football.
That's what we're expected to do this week.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
what we're supposed to do. Like, in their, do you know Michigan's going to be double-digit dogs, and they haven't been double-digit dogs at home since 2013.
Jesus.
So this doesn't happen.
Who was
for them
coaching
very
them at that point? Brady Hoke?
Probably.
I'm thinking, like, I'm trying to think of that time frame. That might have been right. Former Ducks defensive coordinator Brady Hoke.
Yeah, that guy. Former San Diego State head coach.
That's true. That too. Yeah, it was Brady Hoke that was coaching that team.
That's when you know it's bad, right?
Oh, dear Christ.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you're exactly right. Like Texas, in the rest of their season goes Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and then they'll end their regular season schedule with Texas A&M at the end of the year. So
they're going to lose the 2 games that they're playing good teams, right? They're going to lose Kyle Field against Texas A&M.
You think so? At the end of the year,
I'm calling it,
dude. That game. And now
I'm calling it. It could be to go to the SEC championship too.
Well, I don't like Connor Weigman, and hopefully he's not playing by that point a lot, if at all. There is part of me that wants Texas A&M to win out, so that way that's what that matchup is for. But also, fuck Texas A&M. Do we want them to have anything good?
No, I mean, I don't want them to have any good, but I might be a hot take, but I think Mike Elko is a better coach than Sark. I think that defense could be pretty good for Texas A&M, and they could have a few answers for what Sark and Quinn Ewers want to do, to the point where they might even bench Quinn Ewers for a series and try to bring him back. Who knows? From
where that started this season to where it's at now with Quinn Ewers, man, it's crazy how quickly things change in a season.
Oh.
From being a Heisman favorite to, maybe even start. It is wild how quickly that is.
Yeah, I don't understand, but I mean, it's week to week. It's a week to week thing. Is 1 minute you're on top of the world, and the next minute you lose, and they're like, "Oh, actually, is this team even good?" That's how we felt when we played Idaho and had close games against Boise State, barely beat them. They're like, "Oh, is Oregon super overrated, or is this all this hype?" And then we play a couple good games, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're the best team in the nation."
Yeah,
it's well, maybe they're playing good football right now, but I don't think there's a clear-cut best team in college football. I think anyone could beat anyone any weekend, and I think there's a few teams that have coaching advantages and or that are just more connected. And I heard that there might be some disgruntled coaches. I don't know which ones exactly, but Ohio State. So,
man,
you get staffs that are butting heads and not on the same page, and that kind of trickles through the whole entire team. And I feel that.
I mean, you're exactly right. I'm looking at the playoff predictor here, and looking at the top 12 teams, it's just the highest percentage for playoff predictor right now goes to Miami at 90%. And then Oregon's next. Georgia, I would say Georgia. I mean, you want to talk about teams without a signature win. I mean, I guess beating Texas. Their one win. I'd have to pull up their.
That's the one team that I would feel the worst about playing. If I was Oregon,
Georgia or Texas?
Georgia.
Yeah.
I feel like they can honestly beat any of those teams, and maybe even Georgia, but I think they'd take an A+ game for them to win. But pretty much, I mean, it's way more open than it has been in years past, and I think that's what's so exciting about this season is that no one knows how this is going to work. Yeah. No one knows how healthy teams are going to be going into the playoff. I just know that there's a lot more parity. There's a lot more chances for someone to make a run, and who's playing their best ball at the right time of the season.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we're looking at the early season wins and losses of teams. The further we get out from that Clemson game, the better that win looks, because Clemson has actually played a lot better as the season has gone on.
But then I can say that same thing. I'm just so far done with the ACC that it's like
I don't blame you
because Florida State was supposed to be one of their best teams, right?
Yeah,
they're terrible. The next best team. I mean, Miami and Clemson are two like good teams. Other than that, the teams that they're playing are garbage. Clemson played one good team, Georgia lost. If Miami played any good team, they've had the most favorable schedule. Like, what's their best win?
Miami's best win so far?
Yeah.
Taking a look at their schedule right now. I mean, don't discount the Florida A&M Rattlers, one of the best logos in college football.
Could be their top win.
Yeah, when you're looking at it, I mean, Louisville at this point is their best win.
Okay, yeah, that's at that point you're grasping at straw. You're like,
I know I am.
It's
right?
it's yeah, in the fashion that they're doing it,
they're letting people
score on them too.
Yeah,
they're just having to outscore the other teams that can't stop Cam Ward.
God, and you're right. I mean, you look at the rest of their schedule.
It's cupcake.
Duke this week, and I'm pretty sure they're favored by like 20 points or something in that.
Yeah, 21.
Georgia Tech, who has fallen off the face of a cliff since the beginning of the season. Wake Forest, Syracuse, who that has potential to be an end of the year heartbreak. At Syracuse, Kyle McCord upsetting Miami. That has that written all over it.
I could get behind that one. That would be one that like Fran Brown could rally the troops and get them going. Are they at the not the Carrier Dome? They're at whatever Syracuse calls their dome now.
Yeah, fill that bitch up. 70,000, 80,000, 90,000. I want to see a full Carrier Dome for it.
I saw Mario take a shot at all the teams in Florida. He's like, you could see the trajectory of all the teams here in Florida. You know which one's up.
Don't discount my Rattlers, okay? It was just one bad weekend. I actually have a funny story about Florida A&M where I was at the employee store last year or something, and they had all of the HBCU gear there, right? And legitimately, Florida A&M, that is one of the best logos, color schemes in college football. The orange and green,
yeah.
I love it. And I love the Rattlers logo. And I really wanted to get a sweatshirt, but I felt like I was not, I do not qualify to being able to wear a Florida A&M Rattlers sweatshirt, seeing that I am not black. And so I feel like I do not get that pass. Even though Rashad, my co-host on Sports Sunday, told me there are white people that go to HBCUs. It's just a very select few. But there is
pick their battles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to be careful. You got to be careful going on campus there if you're white. You're going to get some looks. But as far as it's just this whole tier one conversation we like to have in college football, it gets more interesting and tough as the weeks go by because it's
shrinking and shrinking.
Yes, and we're going to get answers this weekend with Penn State and Ohio State. Wins and losses are one thing, but the context of games add a whole nother aspect.
Yes.
So we'll see how that game goes there.
I mean, BYU too, getting another sound win over UCF. I can't tell if UCF's good or not. I don't think they're great. So that might not be as good of a win, but BYU was not the betting line favorite by the end, and they kind of dominated. The BYU Jew gets it done again. And
spinning on them defenses like a dreidel.
Yeah. Iowa switched their quarterback to Brennan Sullivan this week to have revenge against his old Northwest team.
Yeah, who was the quarterback at Iowa?
Cade McNamara?
Yeah, former Michigan quarterback.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, I was trying to say, because I watched Iowa a week or so ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about Cade McNamara.
Yeah, that guy's terrible.
Yeah.
And also very injured all the time, so that makes it tough. But, I mean, they put up 40 points this past week, which is probably a season high for them, somewhere around there.
I did want to ask, out of the top, I don't know, and we don't have to do 25. We can go top 12, top 15 teams this week. Is there anybody on upset alert for you? I feel like South Carolina.
Coming this week?
Yeah. I feel like Texas A&M outside at South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina has just been itching for an upset this season, and they did get LSU earlier,
I agree.
but getting blown out by Ole Miss, losing to Alabama in the way they did. I mean, that has a. While I said earlier, I would love to see Texas A&M win out to see that Texas versus Texas A&M game be bigger. I mean, that is one that I could see totally happen.
Yeah, there's just not too many of those. I don't know.
Louisville at Clemson.
I could maybe see like Louisville at Clemson, maybe.
I mean, it has potential for a shootout. That number is big.
I
62.5.
just don't know. I think it's going to be. I played it at 59, so I got a really good number. I mean, maybe a shock from Texas Tech on Iowa State.
Yeah, and I feel like Iowa State they've been kind of flying by the seat of their pants lately too.
Yeah, they're an interesting team. I mean,
they coming off of a bye.
Yeah.
Iowa State.
But I think you're right with the whole Texas A&M just wins a big game at home and then plays South Carolina. It's like South Carolina's like a scrappy, good defensive team.
And you've said they've got a really good defensive line.
They do have a good D line that could stop Marcel Reed. So I think that's another one where they're like, oh, okay, well, if we're not going to be able to run the ball, then we're going to bring in Connor Wegman again. It's like it's just another like whoever they need to bring in there, they will. I don't. Other than that, Kentucky can't score. SMU Pitt, them sticking that on the ACC network at 5, and there's no late night games this week. You see, like the latest game starts at 5
for top 25 teams
for all.
Really?
Teams. Yeah, there's no game that starts past 5 this week.
Well, that's disappointing,
right?
I love watching college football until fucking 11 o'clock at night.
I know. That's why I'm like a little bummed. That's why all the games are kind of early.
Yankees just hit a grand slam.
No way.
Yeah, they're up 5-2. Anthony Volpe.
Oh, Volpe, of course it was.
God damn it. Well, gentlemen sweep. I'm all right with that. I called that series in 5 too on my baseball show, The Hot Corner. I said Dodgers in 5. So, let them have their one. Let them have their one night in New York and then crush their dreams tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow is game 5. I could be wrong on that. But anyways, I digress.
I don't think we can let it be swept just how bad the Beavs got beat up last week.
Oh, my God.
By Cal.
Do you ever have those moments? I mean, again, I don't like the Beavs, but there are still Beef fans that you are either friends with or you like or, you don't have problems with. As I'm watching that Oregon game at the House and Government Camp, there is someone that is an Oregon State grad, and he is watching the Beavers game on his phone.
Yeah.
And it's going the complete opposite of the Oregon game. And it's just one of those, like, I'm sorry, bud. Like,
yeah.
Listen, I'm not mad that the Beavs are getting their backs blown out right now, but I do feel bad for you because you're a good guy.
That's how I feel about Alyssa, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Oregon State grad, and she has to deal with all their downfalls this year. So
yeah, Cal just absolutely whooped their ass. A little lateral by the running back on their first touchdown.
Yeah, they were getting a little tricky.
That definitely wasn't on purpose.
Did you? Yeah.
But still, that happened. I was just like, oh,
did you need to break that out against Oregon State or what? But
Jesus.
Bengal Branson got some run in this game because I think Giovanni McCoy maybe got hurt, but he was having a bad game to start with. So,
dear God.
And Cal just shut down the run game, which really made it so Oregon State had to try to pass, and we all know that they're nothing special in the pass game. So
no, it started to get a little bit better as the weeks were going on, but they just were turning the ball over a bunch, and then this week it was non-existent. It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
To finish up college football, I want to play big number, little number with you.
Okay.
I want you, just like last week, I want you to try and guess the biggest point total and the lowest point total and the biggest spread of the week. So biggest point total on the board. What game is it? Let's see if we can stump Tanner.
Let's see, 2 high-scoring bad defenses. Maybe I'm just going to go with a New Mexico game just because I know New Mexico has had really high totals the last few weeks, and they have terrible defense.
It is not New Mexico. It is not New Mexico.
Oh, I should probably know who, because I probably bet one of them. Let's see, another bad defense, good offense. TCU Baylor.
TCU Baylor, it is.
Yes.
It is the highest point total. Can you guess the point total?
It's 65.
It is 64.5. So
Okay.
yes, I count that as correct. So only 2 guesses that time, but you nail it. All right, lowest little number, lowest point total.
Okay, let's get some.
Don't be looking at the scoreboard either.
I'm looking at
The scoreboard.
Oh, look at the scoreboard.
No, don't. I said.
I know.
Don't fucking cheat.
I'm not cheating. I mean, I gotta look at what the teams are. You know.
No, you need to guess.
I don't have all the teams memorized at the top of my head.
All the matchups and everything.
Yeah.
Well, you should. You fucking degenerate.
No.
You should know every matchup that's happening.
Oh,
Right,
I mean,
I'll
okay. I'll take a guess.
All right.
Just the teams that can't score, Kentucky cannot score. I don't know if they will be able to score. It's got to be in the 40s is what their total is going to be in.
It is not Kentucky.
Okay.
You idiot.
What about
it is a low number though. I will.
What about
Kentucky? Tennessee is 45.5. It is a Power 4 matchup. I will give you that hint.
What about the service academies? Service academies have low totals as well.
You know, that was a good guess as well because I believe Army and Air Force is pretty low at 41.5. Second lowest that I saw this week, but it is not the lowest.
Dang, there's a total lower than that?
There is one game that has a lower total.
Oh, God. Who the hell is playing there? Are you going to tell me, or do you want me to keep guessing here?
Oh, I actually have to check my numbers. Did it go up? I think it might have gone up. As of earlier today. Or maybe it went down. Oh, my God.
It went down further?
All right, let me see here. No, okay, it is still the lowest point total. I see.
Okay. No, I mean, either, I don't know. Iowa's probably not going to be very high.
It is not Iowa. That's almost a given every week that you could just about bet that.
Yeah.
I will give you another hint. It is that conference. It is in the Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Once you see it, you'll know. I think once you see the matchup, then you'll be like, oh.
Nebraska, UCLA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
40.5.
Wow.
Is Tanner laying the big wood on 4.5, laying the under?
I don't think I can play anything. If I played anything, I would have been +7 with UCLA.
I'm with you on that because UCLA is they've covered a few games this year.
They're a little sneaky with that.
They're little rat bastards when it comes to covering.
They just don't stop playing, which is good. A good thing. They did that same thing against Oregon too. Yeah.
So I'm still sour about my 6-leg loss earlier this year because they covered against LSU. Another reason why I don't believe in LSU. Those sucks. All right, and biggest spread of the week.
Well, I know that there's a big spread on Friday just because I've looked at that game, which is Boise State, which is 23.5.
That is correct. That is one of the big ones. It's not the biggest of the week, though.
Okay.
There is one game that is a bigger spread by a half point, and I will give you a hint. It is a weekday game.
Oh. And it's not. Oh, Jesus. It's going to either be a Liberty or a Kennesaw State Western Kentucky game.
Kennesaw State is just getting doubted again. -24.
You got to go back to the Owls, don't you?
Oh, Owls money line, baby.
I don't think you can go back to the Owls now after that.
That was your
win.
one last
That was
week.
their win. They did it already.
That was there were signs that we should have taken that the Kennesaw State money line, seeing that you were in the Owls nest last week at Sun River.
Seriously, I thought about that same thing, and I was like, God.
When you sent those owl emojis, I had no idea that was Kennesaw State's mascot.
Oh, really?
I just thought, I was like, oh, he must be at the Owl Nest in Sun River.
I was, but
was that place just lit for the Owls? Just Kennesaw State fans pouring out of there.
I mean, those people could care less. Those people were, yeah.
I just see you losing your mind. Oh my God, Kennesaw State, and be like, hey, shut up, buddy.
At the convention I was at, I did see the largest parks guy I've ever seen. Though.
The largest parks guy?
Yeah, he's 7'2".
Like what do you mean parks guy?
Like he works
in
park, like for another city. I was like, wow.
7'2".
Can you imagine that guy running a weed eater?
You don't even need him to get on the ladder to trim trees.
Nope.
No, he's got it.
Get that guy a pole saw and he's
all good to go. I told my girlfriend about how you rolled up on me with your lawnmower that one time up at Murdoch Park.
Yeah.
Just cooking on me, just pulling up on me.
I saw you from across, coming over there, just
cooking on that thing. Unreal.
I should have hit a jump.
Watch me cut share with this thing.
All
right. Let's move it over to the NFL for the sake of time.
Okay.
Because I want to ask you an NFL question here. What is, of week 8, the most embarrassing moment of the week? Besides, I believe his name is Tyreek Stevenson of the Chicago Bears.
Oh, just dancing back there.
Yeah, just waving at the fans as the play is going on, just not paying attention. I mean, that's rough. That is one of there are two things that happened this week, and I think you'll be able to guess the other one that I don't think I've ever seen in NFL before. But these are the three options I have for most embarrassing moments of the week. Jets losing to the Patriots after just being desperate for a win and needing a win.
That's a little bit more believable. Like the Pats win
doesn't
divisional games that they shouldn't sometimes.
Not make it embarrassing.
Yeah, that's true.
Anthony Richardson subbing himself out.
That was one I was going to bring up. I was like, I have never seen that.
An obligatory third choice of Cowboys laying a turd coming off of the bye.
I mean,
showing some fight in the first half and then just going back to the mean and just being like, oh, yeah, here you go. And also, classic Cowboys 49ers game where 49ers take a big lead, Cowboys climb their way, quote unquote, back into it.
They're up at halftime.
Yeah, but it changed very quickly after halftime. And then, sure enough, 49ers running away with it. Whereas then the Cowboys in garbage time start to come back into the game and think that they have a chance, only to go, I believe it was 4 and out on that final drive where they give themselves a chance and then don't even do anything with it. I was like, that is the most Cowboys 49ers game I have seen. Whereas, again, that's happened twice in the playoffs. Happens multiple times seemingly throughout the last 10 years when they played them. It is just fucking pathetic. But
you guys are better on the road, which is weird.
Well, not anymore, seeing as they just lost their first road game. That, my God, it is just. And then, listen, I don't want this to turn to a Cowboys bitching hour, but then Trayvon Diggs immediately going and bitching at a media member after the game.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly shows what's on his mind.
He's pissed off.
So, I mean, I think, again, out of the Tyreek Stevenson, or besides the Tyreek Stevenson thing, I mean, the most embarrassing moment of the week is the Anthony Richardson subbing himself out.
Yeah, like I said, I've never seen that.
I have not.
I can't do this, coach. Get me out.
The taps.
Yeah, just
the taps
tap
on the
head. Yeah.
And the fact that, in the post-game press conference, just straight up admitting to it. I mean, I will give him props for that. Not even trying
being honest about it.
Not even trying to disguise it. Just saying, I was tired, to be honest with you. Oh my God.
I need to catch my breath.
Not even being Yeah, I was kind of rolled up on a little weird, kind of thought I pulled my hamstring and just
Like you would usually say something, right? Like to make up something.
like, I'm just tired. I was just tired,
I needed a little break.
I cannot believe that. Like, and then everybody in the football community has just been losing their collective minds. Like any NFL player, coach ever that has just been able to talk about it is just losing their shit.
Yeah.
Like, who is it? Is it Damian Woody on ESPN? I think he was on like Get Up with Rex Ryan. Oh, them two were having a fucking conniption. They just couldn't. They were speechless. And Rex Ryan with his chompers.
God, Rex Ryan does not shut up too.
Not a Rex Ryan fan?
No, I'm fine with Rex Ryan.
Does he have? Is he on the Freddie Freeman dental plan? Does he have some chiclets now too?
Yeah,
I think he does. Yeah, man. Oh my god. Yeah. Again, I feel like I've seen it, but looking at pictures of it right now, I mean, dear Christ, those things. Do you know the process of veneers? What they have to do?
No.
They literally like file your actual teeth down to like little nubs, like little dolphin teeth.
Yeah.
And then it's just gum, like it is disgusting. And then they put some chiclets on there.
They put the brand new ones on.
Yeah, and then you're
looking good.
Not fooling anybody with those.
No, the tricky teeth.
I don't even know. Like it's just if you can afford having veneers, then go for it. But also, like, just stick it out with your regular teeth. I mean, for God's sakes.
Some people. Some people it makes sense. Those English people, like, you know why they go to Turkey and go get those teeth?
The Brits.
Yeah, those things are not good.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, the Brits, they probably just need to have veneers, like like in every dental plan.
Yeah,
like you're good for one veneer usage in your lifetime.
No coverage. You don't have to have coverage to get it. Like there's like, yeah, come on.
I'm sure you can make bank over there.
Yeah. Another shocking thing over this weekend for NFL is Jameis Winston stepping in, throwing 3 touchdowns, and beating the Ravens. Something Deshaun Watson couldn't do.
Yeah, and that's foreshadowing my god-awful betting weekend that I had. Because I even saw Sunday morning that it got bet down to 7.5, Ravens 7.5. I'm like, oh, daddy, let's go. I felt wonderful.
We know that that's not what you do, Fish.
It's what I do. It is what I do.
We know that you don't buy that news.
I think that I think I have a formula for betting going forward. You take my instinct and then you look at what the public is doing and then go against it. So if I'm like, oh,
you're the public.
I know. I am a simpleton. As I look at, I'm like, ooh, I absolutely love this. And then I go and look, and it's like, oh, 90% of people are on that bet. I'm like, all right, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's how I know that I'm very much in the wrong there.
Yeah, the public had a really good 4-week stretch,
and it probably regressed back.
And it's starting to regress, and I think it's going to even more because everyone wanted the Bengals. Who didn't want the Bengals? And then
I didn't touch that one.
Okay,
even though I fucking hate the Eagles.
That was a good one, but who didn't want the Texans? No one wanted the Colts, did they?
Also, fuck the Texans because they should have gone up by at least 6 at the end of that game.
They should have,
but they decided to fuck around at the goal line and damn near give up the lead. They luckily called it back because Mixon, by the hairs on his chin finger, barely grazed the fucking shoulder pad of that Colts player that recovered the fumble. I don't know what the fuck the Texans were doing at the end of that game, but my God, I was so pissed because if you would have guessed, I took the Texans covering 5.
Of course, I could have texted him and don't do that.
God damn
it's the biggest.
That's bullshit. Don't even give me that because they should have covered that. They just fucked around.
You can say that with
They fucked around and they fumbled. The play before that too, Joe Mixon took a handoff and tripped and just fell forward and
Oh, I know. I'm
not saying it's pretty. I'm not saying that
anything it's just weird how these teams will come out and cover them. It's the NFL and that shit happens, and it's just crazy to me week to week that happens.
So those were two right there. Is Texans not covering 5?
Did you get on the Broncos? No.
No, I was too scared of that one.
Oh,
it was what, like minus 12,
11? Yeah, it was
those big spreads, dude. It's just like
no. I will agree the big spreads, but I saw a lot of sharp money coming in on that one.
But also them starting Bryce Young, that should have been an
automatic against.
The way it's like, all right, the Panthers aren't going to do anything.
How about the Chargers only giving up 8 points?
Yeah, dude, their defense is, they have to, especially after what the Titans just did. I like how after last week we do that NFL true or false, and it's like, oh, the Titans have the number 1 defense.
They give up 50.
My Christ.
Lad McConkey, 6 receptions, 111 yards, and 2 TDs.
There you go. Good job.
Finally, something. But yeah, Herbert played well.
So there was the other one that Chapman asked was, and it was, I believe they ended up, they covered it by fucking 9 points. I took the Cardinals Dolphins under. So, that was done by, I think, the beginning of the fourth quarter.
That's an interesting under to take with Tua coming back.
We were talking about this last week. It was the whole don't buy good news. It was the whole.
Well, that's a spread. It's different.
See, and that was another thing we were talking about last week too. Was Cardinals were dogged by like 3.5, and I said the point total and the Cardinals being 3.5. Those are the two I was everyone. And sure enough, the one I actually bet on was the one that did not hit.
Of course.
Yeah. So
I think your new strategy should just be bet the Lions every week, no matter what it is. Dan Campbell's 70% spread if you go 70% throughout the season, you're making money. So.
And then the last one that I lost as well were the fucking Packers not covering against the Jags, 3.5. Fucking Evan Ingram making the catch of his life in between 3 defenders.
Clutch for me. I had him for anytime touchdown.
Of course you did. Well, of course. By the way, did you know Sunday was National Tight End Day?
I did.
Dude, I was with my girlfriend all day on Sunday, and as Sundays go, I'm watching Red Zone, whatever game, Cowboys game on my phone. Like when we left government camp, I had it on my phone the whole way back. When we got back to her house, I had it on the TV. Took my mid-afternoon nap as it goes, and we watched the Cowboy game at night. By the end of the day, she was done with National Tight Ends Day. Scott Hansen probably mentioned it
so many times,
50, 60 times.
Put a little touchdown parlay with
the tight ends.
And then they mentioned it however many times in the Sunday night game. And then George Kittle, as he does against the Cowboys, just absolutely eviscerated him. And then they have a full-on belt made for him on National Tight Ends Day. She was done. She was like, "Oh my fucking god,
I'm done hearing about this tight ends.
How many more times am I going to hear about National Tight End Day?" It was just they were mentioning it. It just got funnier and funnier every time they mentioned it because she was just like, "Are you kidding me with this National Tight End Day?" She's like, "Is this a real holiday?" I was like, "No, but it is. Yeah, it is."
Going forward,
I was going to say, give it maybe one more year. And the wide receivers are going to start bitching and moaning and asking why they don't have one to have their own day. Is that not the most wide receiver thing to do? What about National Wide Receiver Day?
You know, a game I thought you were going to say
that I lost money on?
That you were wanting to bet was that Vikings Rams game.
You know, I'm not even going to try and play I don't know. Dodgers hit a solo home run. It's now 5-3. Yankees in the 5th. That one was me being a dumbass and like rolling with the public. And then like that day of the game, they're like, "Oh, Cup's playing and Puka Nacua is playing." I'm like, that totally changes things for that game. And I didn't bet on it. But seeing the Rams win that, and them two having decent games.
Yeah, they did pretty good games.
I mean, Cup got a touchdown. Nacua had a few catches. I mean, that was one of those where I definitely would have jumped on the Vikings to cover. And then once they got announced as playing, I was just like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just not going to bet this at all. So, yeah, I would have lost money. I was damn near on track to losing money there, too. But, yeah, it's just now I'm looking at I'm lost, man. Like, Thursday Night Football, Jets are favored, like -2. Like, why?
Well, because the Diggs news,
they still might not have Nico Collins back.
No Nico Collins.
They're doing everything possible to lose games, fumbling at the fucking goal line in the red zone to let other teams try and win.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, all of a sudden pull out. They just look so bad lately that they just show up at home and
the Texans they have been weird lately. Like, they have just not been. I mean, outside of the Patriots game, which, go figure, the Patriots. But, I mean, they lost to the Packers. They barely escaped the Colts.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they're banged up. So I could totally see them just straight up losing this game. As far as I go up and down. I mean, the Bills getting 6, that's one where I look at Dolphins to cover. Like, I would like Dolphins getting +6. And, therefore, Bills will win by more than 6.
No, I mean, I don't dislike that one. That one's a little bit different. I think just because the Bills came off such a dominant win last week, against the Seahawks team that I don't think is terrible,
No, and in Seattle too. I mean, that's
a tough game. So I mean, go from Seattle and go back home.
How about I just give you my money and then you can place the NFL bets for me?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I do know. I think that sounds good to me.
I'll
give you a percentage. Let's negotiate. How much you want? How much you want of my winnings?
I don't like being in charge of other people's stuff, because if I'm going to lose, I'm just going to lose my own stuff. But I see what you're saying. We can talk it out, though. A little talk out.
Have a little negotiation, a little split of my winnings go to you.
What game? Oh, you were just talking about Miami, Buffalo.
I mean, Miami, Buffalo, again. Miami covering the sticks. I could see that being a close game.
Well, technically, you are on the sharp side right now of that game.
And I'm right back in, baby. The confidence is at an all-time high again.
Almost 70% of the bets on the Bills right now. So,
yeah. I mean, again, that goes against my algorithm. What's my instinct? What is the public saying? And if those two are correlating, then don't bet it.
More so, I like the over in that game.
49.5.
Yeah.
I like that too. I mean,
I think both teams can score. I mean, let's look at the weather in Buffalo.
59 degrees, it says. AccuWeather report.
That's what it's supposed to be when they kick off? Is that right? Or is what is it?
AccuWeather report. That's what it says here on that Espen.
Okay, well then that's perfect. Yeah, I like that for an over.
I think that's just what I have to go with is find 3 to 4 bets that I love.
Yep.
And then see what the public says. And if they're on the same thing, then don't bet them. I think that is the winning formula or the not losing formula for me.
What would you do in this Chargers game? Pretty ugly game, but
Chargers, Browns, Chargers -1.5.
Yes.
Total 42.5. I mean, the natural instinct for Joe, which means that it's wrong, is to take the Chargers to cover the 1.5.
Okay.
And to take the under.
Okay.
So therefore,
so you went 1-1, I think, with so far a public. Right now, we got 75% of the bets on Cleveland
to cover the 1.5.
Yeah.
So therefore, with my algorithm, the Chargers will cover the 1.5 because of my instinct and the public don't match up.
Yeah, and then right now you are with the public on the under because. Well, what's crazy to me is I'm looking at it and like 75% of the bets right now are placed are on Cleveland, but that spread is about to go up to 2. So with all the bets coming in on the other side, it's going up. That means you know where all the money's going. It's on the Chargers right now. So that one is one of the better, actually splits I've seen so far. And the over is getting a decent amount of money at the moment. But, I mean, I could definitely – oh, my God. Baltimore's favored by 9.5 this week.
Against who?
Against the Broncos.
Oh, my God.
After just losing, this is where Baltimore gets right then, right? This might be a blowout.
See, again, natural instinct says Broncos to cover at 9.5. And I bet you that's what the public says. I bet you the public is on because Broncos 5-3.
It's a little more even on this one.
Yeah.
More money coming on Baltimore, but almost similar amount of bets. So there's not too much of a description on that one.
But I hear you that Broncos, that you would think that what just happened after last week? The Broncos looking good against the Panthers, winning big. Bo Nix looking good. Ravens looking like shit against the Browns. Broncos cover.
Right.
But you're exactly right. This could be where Broncos go into Baltimore, got to jump a couple time zones. Ravens want to get back on the ship, prevent going 5-4. And
the Broncos just played a shit Panthers team.
Exactly.
Inflates them a little bit. Your perception of them is a little bit higher after, they just won by, 11 plus.
Yes.
But your game, Dallas.
Oh, well, whoever they're playing, take them to cover.
Falcons?
Yes, take Falcons cover 3. The Cowboys, and this was something I want to get into real quick, is the remaining strength of schedule for some teams.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of getting to that halfway point of the NFL season. The Cowboys are fucked. They have the 8th hardest schedule remaining. Not only do they play the Falcons next week, but they got to play the Commanders and Eagles twice. They still have to play the Texans. They still have to play the Buccaneers. And that's with the hardest schedule. They're screwed. That season's going to start falling apart. They're going to lose to the Falcons this week. That team has nothing to be confident about. And it's in Atlanta. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's, they're going to walk into the trap, and they're not going to take over the trap.
Kirk Cousins doesn't want that.
That's Kirk Cousins' trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do not take the trap away from Kirk Cousins, all right?
Well, it's weird. Is 67% of the Cowboys right now.
So perfect. That does not match my algorithm.
Yeah, you're right.
My instinct
right now
says to take the Falcons to cover. The public is taking the Cowboys to cover. Therefore, Cowboys will not cover. See, this is the thing. Guys are working Excel sheets. They're doing all these formulas. They're using pi.
Just do the opposite of Joe.
Yeah, just do the opposite. As long as those two things match up, my natural instinct, as long as it does not match up, it's a win.
The Green Bay Detroit game is going to be really good one this week.
Yeah. That's Detroit has the second toughest remaining schedule in the NFL. The hardest schedule left in the NFL belongs to the Chicago Bears. They have to play all 6 of their divisional games.
I was going to say, their division. That's the problem.
They have all 6 of their divisional games, and then they have to play the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals, who are all looking like – the NFC West right now that's going to be fun to see play out because I think everybody is within a game of each other outside of – actually –
very competitive.
Yeah, actually with the Rams winning this week, I think they're a game behind the division-leading Cardinals, go figure. But yeah, the Chicago Bears right now have the toughest schedule remaining in NFL. The Tigers, the Detroit Lions have the second hardest remaining schedule in the NFL. Denver, who's right now playoff spot, technically, they have the 5th toughest schedule remaining. They have to play the Chiefs twice, Ravens, Falcons, your Chargers, and for some reason they put the Colts under the toughest opponent section, which Well, without Flacco starting now, that might be the case. But Baltimore's got a tough schedule remaining. Dallas, Pittsburgh, dude. Don't bet against Tomlin. And luckily I did this week. But
I would, yeah.
I
Tell everyone bet with caution when you're doing that. I mean, whether you think it's the sharp side or not, he just constantly still does it somehow. Russell didn't look terrible again.
Dude, he's
so
good for him.
Yeah, honestly.
Good for Arthur Smith.
And then TJ Watt taking over the game at the end, doing what he does.
Dude, that might be I don't know what the depoy odds are right now, but he's got to be top 3. I mean, with Hutchinson going down, I mean, what's it looking like right now? I'm trying to get
depoy.
Yeah,
Depoy. Yeah, I don't. Who's leading?
Right now, TJ Watt has
the
the
best
odds.
Okay.
DraftKings, FanDuel, and Bet365 anywhere from plus 125, plus 160, plus 140. Next is Will Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Chris Jones with the second best odds. I mean, depending on where you look, right now Dexter Lawrence has the second best odds on DraftKings, but he's got 4th on FanDuel.
That's not going to continue.
Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe so. I will say that one bet that I did explain on it, I said before the season that the Giants will finish last in the NFC East.
You did say that?
Yeah, on my Sunday show, I said that they would. I mean, Cowboys might push them for that one. I mean, but I think that the Giants suck just a little bit more than the Cowboys. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Not a lot. It might be like a game or two that decides that. But,
not a lot.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
One team that has a tough schedule remaining that is in that playoff bubble, Minnesota. And they got 4 division games left. 1 against Detroit, 1 against Green Bay, 2 against Chicago. They got to play the Falcons. They got to play the Seahawks. And then they have to play the Colts, Jags, Titans. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's weird how they're putting the Colts under one of the toughest opponents category, but I don't know if that's because of them technically have a winning or a 500 record.
I mean, if you have Joe Flacco at quarterback playing in there,
that's tough.
That's tough.
That
automatically.
Carolina has an 11 part schedule. The easiest schedule remaining. I'll go the bottom 5. So the 5th easiest schedule remaining goes to Houston. The 4th easiest schedule remaining is a team who desperately needs a win because they haven't won since week 2, and that's New Orleans. Lost 6 straight, which wild to actually see this morning when I was like, oh my God, they have lost straight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is interesting. Atlanta, 3rd easiest schedule. Arizona, 2nd easiest schedule. And then Tampa Bay, the easiest schedule. Tampa gets to play Carolina twice. And now, granted, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Tampa, they all get to play Carolina. But Tampa Bay, they play Carolina twice. The Giants, the Raiders, the Saints, and the Cowboys. So, I mean, the NFC South is still very much going to be interesting with Tampa Bay having the easiest schedule. The combined combined record for strength of schedule for Tampa Bay is 377. Like, my God.
I mean, they did suffer that Chris Godwin brutal injury and a couple other things. So definitely not the same team, but you know who has the best miss percentage in the NFL? Bucky Irvin. Once he's got the ball in his hands, people are having a hard time tackling him, and we saw that a lot last year. So,
hopefully he gets a 1,000-yard season this year. I don't know what he finished with on Sunday against the Falcons.
I don't think he's going to be on pace for that because he hasn't been the start. Like, he's still not getting like starting reps. You know, like
he's getting like 8 to 12 carries a game.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting the bell cow share like Kyron Williams, who gets like 23 plus carries a game.
Yeah,
it's not like that for him yet, but it could be. I don't know if his body could handle that, but he's that good, though.
Bucky Irving right now at 395 rushing yards. That's through 8 games. So
Yeah.
it's looking rough. But still, I mean, he finished with 800 yards rookie year. It's a nice little rookie campaign there for Bucky.
That just makes it so the Bucks won't have to pay Rashad White.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, actually, we got a couple other backs. And
Well, they got that
Sean
Peyton Tucker or Sean Tucker.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. Well, sake of time,
Yes.
I'm gonna wrap it up here. As things stand at this very moment of this recording, the Dodgers down 5-4 in the 5th inning now.
Uh-oh. Come back.
I hope so. God, I want the Yankees to lose. I just want this to be over with. I don't even care if I'm not technically right. I mean, that's a great way to be wrong. Is that I say that this series is going 5 and it only goes 4 because the Yankees get swept. I mean, that's a great way to be wrong,
right?
I love that.
I'll take that anytime. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, I mean, we'll be talking about this week
week
because we'll obviously be on the golf course on Saturday.
Pause.
Yeah, too long of a pause. I don't like that.
We'll see. We'll do some talking.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
I'll see you out of
Swing the sticks. It's been too long.
I'll see you out of TIG because I need to hit some balls. It's been too long, and it's been too long since I've seen old Smitty either. I mean, just need to get the boys. And again,
Yeah.
funky bad. You're going with.
Get your mop sticks. Sit down.
Yeah, shut your mouth. Daddy wants to hit some golf balls. So, all right, brother. Thank you as always.
Yep.
Episode 10 is back. Landmark episode.
Yeah. Take it.
Peace.
Peace.